Tommy Fury has fumbled the bag. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Unknown Capital. Today we have a hybrid video. So first I'm going to be talking about Tommy Fury, how he's fumbled the biggest bag in his life, and then giving my predictions about Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley. So let's start with Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury, bro, how you fumbled the biggest bag? Like, okay, you might have a chest infection. Okay, yes, your rib cage could have been broken, but come on, man, like, how are you pulling out? Like, there was a video of Tyson Fury saying, oh, Tommy Fury on his worst day could come with broken ribs, could come with his clothes look the wrong way around, could come with broke right hand, left hand, with 2 broken toes, and he could still beat Jake Paul. Clearly, that video is aged like fine wine, because clearly this guy, the pressure's got to him. He knows that. Everyone in the Fury family knows that. Big John Fury, Tyson and himself knows that this chest infection and this allegedly broken rib cage is a big problem for them. Because if Tyson Fury and Big John Fury really thought that Tommy Fury could beat Jake Paul with one hand, they would have let him go. But he knows that this fight's closer than anything else, and this guy is fumbled the bag. This guy could have made millions and millions of dollars. But now he doesn't even get that. Now he has to sit home at December 15, watch fucking Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley go through, and I don't think so he's gonna get another fight. Why would someone like Jake Paul give the fight back to Tommy Fury when this guy has fumbled the bag 2 weeks before? Like, he came to the press conference and said, oh, I'm very good, but the comment from John Fury and the Tyson Fury saying he's gonna bend his girlfriend over, come on, man. There has to be a certain amount of respect given. Like, you can't bring family matters into this. But you know what, the whole conference was bullshit. Jake Paul was right next to a fucking beach or some swimming pool. Like, it was so dead. But let's move on with Tommy Fury. But Tommy Fury, like, how you dropping out? Like, many fighters say that many fighters fight with chest infection and a broken rib. Like, or maybe I'm just being rude here, because I know that this is their biggest payday, and I don't think you're gonna get this back. But like, if you're so confident that you're gonna beat Mr. Jake Paul, yeah, you should just go in there, prove everyone wrong, because everyone now thinks that you're the biggest fumbler. You're scared for your life. Jake Paul was gonna beat you 100%. Man, it was so bad. Like, how can he do this? I'm actually so like godsmacked from what Tommy Fury's done. And clearly the pressure's got to him. Like, you can see the pressure's got to him, because if he really took it seriously and if he thought he's on levels ahead of Jake Paul, he would have took that fight on short notice. He would have still gone with his rib cage and his chest infection. But he knows that he has to make sure that he takes care of him properly, because if he loses, it's over for him, because all the pressure's on my guy. Because the Fury name he has gives him a lot of credibility. Does he deserve that credibility? I don't think so. But that name does come with a lot of credibility, as people say, with great power comes some bullshit like that. And that's what you add. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, what can he do? What can he actually do with my guy? Like, okay, do I think Tommy Fury is gonna become a world champion? I want him to. He looks like the next marketable person, but from all the skill sets which I've seen, I'm telling you, I thought Jake Paul would have won, because the last fight Tommy Fury had against that MMA fighter, how you not taking him out of the ring? That guy was so bad. That guy was rushing in like this. That guy was known to be a MMA fighter. His speciality was grappling, and even then it took you 3 rounds to not even take him out. You struggled with dear life. And imagine Jake Paul did that. Jake Paul just beat Tyron Woodley, and Tyron Woodley ain't no bum. Tyron Woodley was a former welterweight champion, and yes, it was his first boxing fight. But come on, in your last, what are you? I think 7-0 right now. How many people has Tommy Fury fought, which is actually has a positive record? I think one of his opponents had a record of like 0-8. That previous record like 0-10. And then I think he got a lost stick when he lost for in the UK under BT Sports, that his opponents had a record of like 0 and like 25, and then they had to bring someone better. And even then it took Tommy Fury quite a long time to bring him in, to take him down, and actually not take him down, but actually to assess the fighter and actually like finish him. But this guy's actually, I don't even know. Like, I'm so crazy that he's fumbled the bag, and so many fighters fight through injury. Look at Michael Bisping. Yeah, my guy fought 8 years. Actually, okay, 7 to 8 years without one eye. So imagine this guy didn't have no depth perception in his left eye. How would he assess the different situations? So that's what I'm thinking. Like, and even Jake Paul said he had a few injuries before going to T-Wood, but at the end of the day, the show needs to keep on going on because there's so many fighters to play on the undercard. So many fighters to play on the undercard. Like, you need to make sure that everyone gets paid, and you just don't drop out. But this whole thing seems sus. And actually, I genuinely believe Jake Paul that Tommy Fury is the biggest B word in the sport. Like, I like you. Like, I wanted you doing that fight. I wanted someone to shout out Jake Paul, but this is just giving Jake Paul way more talking point over you. Now, Jake Paul is the A game, and he always was. So say goodbye, say bye-bye to your biggest bag in your life here, Tommy Fury. But guys, let's move on to the predictions between Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley. This second fight is going to be very interesting. I think it's going to be super interesting. Let me tell you why. Okay, in the first fight, yeah, Tyron Woodley did have some good spells or moments with Jake Paul, where when he hit him with a nice, with a nice straight, I believe. I could be wrong. With a nice straight against him, Jake Paul nearly fell on the ropes, and then T-Wood didn't know what to do. And this was a bit of his first boxing fight. He wasn't really sure how to maintain the boxing distance, how to use footwork to make sure he can get to the right position to use the left hook, the uppercut, and ever since that, I think Tyron Woodley's been like, okay, you know what? This was my first fight. I lost fair and square, and he did his best to get the second fight. He really wanted that big payday. Like, that payday is very important because the UFC, at the end of the day, they don't pay a lot. Like, for someone who's a world champion, the most you're getting is from 1 million max. Unless you're Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor in his last fight, he got 3 million, which is still not a lot. When you look at like different boxers like Floyd, Manny Pacquiao, who are getting like 10 million a fight, like Canelo, who's getting like 10 million a fight. Like, this guy wants to secure the bag, and I understand why. But T-Wood, I think this fight is going to be way better for him. I think he knows he's been inside. He's had a dance with Jake Paul for what, 6 rounds in the last fight. So he understands how Jake Paul moves. He understands how to counter him. And ever since then, I think he's been training. He's been training very well. Like, he's been going, and he's in his mind, it's revenge. It's revenge. And this guy can, I think it's 7 rounds of 3 minutes, or 8 rounds of 2 minutes. I think that's what it is. But even that, I think his strength and conditioning is going to be very good because he's gone multiple times 25 minutes in the UFC. He's used to this. Like, I think Tyron Woodley has a very definitive chance of winning this fight. But let's move on to Jake Paul. Jake Paul is a very smart man. You might not like him, you might hate him, but this guy thinks very well with his brain. It comes to a very good marketing. And this guy has actually put boxing in a very good place. Like, it's actually made boxing more fun to watch. And yes, that might be to someone who's a common boxing head, think, oh my god, that's the worst thing that someone can say. But look at it, like in the last week, Gervonta Davis fought, fucking David Ernie fought. But how many people from actually who watch YouTube know that? Not only people who watch boxing know that, but anytime Jake Paul fights, it brings the eyes to everyone. When KSI versus Logan happened, in the undercard there was David Haney and Billy Joe Saunders. So imagine, yeah, Billy Joe Saunders, who just fought Canelo, former WBO middleweight champion. David Haney, who's the I think, I don't even know what, something lightweight champion in boxing right now. So you can clearly see that this guy brings a major retention to boxing. And I think him versus Ben Askren was probably one of the most sold pay-per-view events in boxing history. So this guy can bring the A side. But something else which I really give Jake Paul is that he's given Tyron Woodley a 500k bounty if he knocks him out. And this is very smart because Tyron Woodley wants to secure the bag. So Jake Paul knows that maybe Tyron Woodley might come in too fast, try to try to look out for the knock, and this will give pockets of spaces open where Jake Paul could counter left hook, counter right hook, counter over, and can step to the side left or right to help himself. And I think in the last fight, he actually outsmarted Tyron Woodley, and that's very crazy because I don't think a YouTuber can do that, but you can see that everyone who does YouTube boxing, most of them respect the sport. They respect the ethos, the ethics. What do you need to do to actually become a fighter? What you need to do to become the best of the best, the creme de la creme. And that's what Jake Paul is doing. He's going out and getting the best coaches. I forgot his coach's name. I think is I remember this guy fought what's the name? He fought Tony Bellew, so he was a former cruiserweight. And he gets the best of the best. So he knows that he's taking it seriously. So in terms of prediction, and let's go to Jake. Let's look at Jake Paul's skills before we go to prediction. Jake Paul has a very solid jab. He jabs very hard. His footwork I think his footwork's very good, and he knows how to slip out pockets, how to find the pocket, how to escape the pocket, how to counter very well. Jake Paul is very good in that regard. So in terms of prediction, I'm telling you, it's going to be closer than most people think. I could throw you wrong, yeah. Either Tyron Woodley come and bang, steamroll Jake Paul, or vice versa. But I personally think it's going to go decision. I think it's going to go to a decision. And I think it could be something inside's telling me, my arm's telling me T Wood, but woof. What's my mind telling me? My mind's telling me Jake Paul, and that's the worst thing I want to hear. So I'm gonna go for Jake Paul by split decision in 8 rounds, and I think that's a very good prediction from what I think, because Tyron Woodley is kind of a reserve fighter. He doesn't want to go and put the pressure on people. He's never been that guy, pal. He's never been that guy. So he never puts that pressure on the fighter, and I think Jake Paul will not even put the pressure, because the last fight he gave him too much respect, and I think that respect is going to still be there, because Jake Paul clearly knows what Tyron Woodley's strong right hand. He has a right overhand which can sleep him, and he got caught in the last fight. So I think Jake Paul is going to be one way they're going to either find the pocket or they're going to fight at distance. It really depends. It really depends how both people come. Either it just could be an absolute swing war, but I don't think that's going to be. But I think it's going to be them fighting the pocket most of the time, trying to have a nice boxing knowledge where one person is going to set up traps. It's going to be like that, in my opinion. So I think I'm going to go for Jake Paul by split decision, as I said before. So guys, please, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. Please put the notification bell on. Let's everyone put in the comment Tommy fumbles, and then everyone put in the comment, who do you think is going to win, Tyron Woodley or Jake Paul? This weekend is UFC 269, so watch out for a live stream, or maybe if the video's out, what's your reaction for UFC 269? And then this weekend, Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley, and I'll see you later. Peace.